we will call this meeting to order, and we will say the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, so first order of business is our meeting minutes from April. So Diana emailed those out to everybody. Did everybody get a chance to look through those meeting minutes? Have any additions, corrections, subtractions, input of any kind? All right, well, let's have a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll motion.
All right, got a first motion. Anybody want a second motion?
I'll second.
All right, got a second motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, meeting minutes from April have been approved. Looks like we do not have a quorum for BZA again, so no official BZA meeting can happen today. Good thing we don't have anything on the schedule pending right now, so no worries there. Hopefully we can get some other people interested. I do have, in addition to your neighbor, I have another gentleman that lives up on Pennsylvania that has expressed some interest. He's on vacation in Florida this week, so, but he said when he gets all done with his vacationing that he'd like to find out more. So he might attend a meeting first also to see if it's going to be a right fit. But
Okay.
so yeah, anybody who wants to attend. All right, so we'll move on to our planning commission meetings. So we have on our agenda is wayfinding. You want to do wayfinding first?
You can go ahead and show the
You got it.
So I've been emailing Cindy and Leanne, and I've emailed this company that's I've been working with for this design. I'm not happy with this design, but this was their initial offering. And I've told them, I replied back, and I thought they'd have something here for me by the end of this week, by this meeting, I mean, and they didn't. But I told them I wanted the town of Clayton, I wanted to say, welcome to the town of Clayton, and a little bit of the logo at the top. And then below the graphic of the buildings, I wanted historic downtown. And then we'll order these banners. We can either do the blue or the white background. The guy with the representative told me that the white background tends to stand out more as you're driving by to catch the details of what you want to see. So we'll probably just do a vote if we like the blue or the white or whatever they offer as far as the final couple versions. And then it's easier for us just to order these, it'll be cheaper for us to order these and put them everywhere that we want for the historic downtown area, be everywhere. And then there'll be little, two little ring, like key ring, but large key ring kind of things that loop into little eyelets at the bottom. And then that can say, do the wayfinding piece.
Oh.
So then we can just order the wayfinding directions to the various places like parking with an arrow and park, whatever, you know, and those will just hang off the bottom of those. And then below that, same kind of size little drop down thing with two rings holding it up will be the sponsorship thing. And that way, if the sponsorship changes, we just order a new sponsorship little banner and attach it and take the old one down. We don't have to get a whole new banner. So it saves on costs of customizing each banner with a direction logo, wayfinding logo, and then also the graphic, and then also the sponsorship. So when they get that back to me, we'll move a little bit further with it. Hopefully have something by the next meeting on each
for the logo flag.
But we can also we'll attach these to the present anchors that we have on the
I was
poles.
gonna add, what, do you know the dimensions of that?
Well, we'll order probably the same dimensions,
Okay.
unless we feel like they're too small. If that compacts everything down graphically, then it looks unreadable, then maybe we'll either order separate brackets uh, for this stuff. And of course, we'll have the sponsorship, and the sponsorship will help pay for, supplement the cost of everything. I also was looking at the poles on the way through town the other day, and we have brackets on one side, but that doesn't mean we can't have brackets on the other side of the pole. And we could utilize the inside of the poles with banners as well. Wonder how that would work with the BAR folks, how they'd feel about that.
I don't imagine they would mind too much because in Plainfield they do that
Both,
all the time.
with
So
both
they'll
poles.
have flags on both sides of the pole. One will be DOR or DAR, or the other one will be
Yeah. So I think our banners should be more static. They'll be up there all the time, and then the DAR ones will come and go and change. And then also we have the holiday ones that go on. So would we, I guess we could all decide as a group, would we want our holiday banners to replace these, or would we want these to stay up for the holidays as well?
Well, how long are the DAR banners up?
1 year, from Memorial Day to Memorial Day.
Oh, wow.
And they want, there's a time frame, you can take them down, but there's a time frame of how long they can be down and how long they want them back up. Yeah. But they do give us some kind of grace period for the holidays, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, you can if you need to. I mean, we haven't run into a problem where we needed to take them down for anything yet. But if you needed to, they do have a, a short period of time that you're allowed to remove them and then put them back up.
It'd be my guess that Duke would be okay with two sides of the banners, but they don't probably want three banners up. That would be overload.
Well, and currently we don't put banners on every pole, so there are other poles available
Okay.
that are not being used currently. So we have some options
Yeah.
with that kind of thing, but we could, take a like a count on which.
Right. Since these are specific to get the historic downtown area noticed, then we probably, I mean, we should probably, I mean, it's just my thought, keep them up as much as possible.
Yeah, and I like the idea of, putting those, like you said, on the inside, away from the highway, and then, and more on more poles in this, especially in this downtown area, because it would again just highlight that a little better.
Okay.
Did they tell you what kind of material it was, or just a
They have
vinyl?
different classifications of material, and it ranged from anywhere from like economical
Yeah.
to almost like a rigid screen that
Oh.
goes up. It has like, little tiny holes all through it.
Right.
And it's a rigid screen, so it wouldn't flap or do anything.
Exactly, that's
Of
what
course,
I,
those are gonna be higher dollar,
but they'd last longer.
but they're gonna last longer, yeah, yeah.
Cause these vinyl ones that we have, they need replaced now, I mean,
Yeah.
they've got cracks in them.
Yeah, I think that'll be like the final decision. I guess we'll just have to sit and look at how much we have to work with financially
Yeah.
and make a decision. So, then versus also how long we want them to last. I mean, like you said, investing in them to last longer might be more economical than the replacement costs.
Well, and some of the costs will be offset by our sponsorship
Right.
idea.
Right.
We're gonna, go around and sell this,
Mm-hmm.
you know, sponsorship spot to businesses.
Yeah, and then on that note of sponsorship, does it have to be just businesses? Because,
No,
I mean,
no.
I would sponsor one, but I don't need my name up there on it.
And address, social security number.
Yeah. And my bank account information.
For
Yeah,
sure.
bank account number, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason it would have to be limited to a business. I mean, like Tri Kappa might want
Mm-hmm.
to sponsor one,
Or a
or
club,
our local,
a club
Yeah,
up
that'd
right,
be
around here.
neat.
our local, you know, sorority, or any of those kinds of things. They could do that. That shouldn't be
That
struggle.
that's pretty much a wrap of what I have.
All right. Any other feedback or thoughts on banners so far? What we're looking at?
Just curious. So that's the church. That's stacked.
It's just a graphic that they sent, and
Oh,
I
okay.
told the guy this has all been through email back and
Uh-huh.
forth, and I just told the guy, I go, we are a small rural town, so I would rather. He sent a bunch of them. Some of them looked like they were like brownstones in the middle of downtown Indianapolis or something, And I go, we're just a rural area, so I picked that one because it was more rural, and he said he could come up with something even more rural if we wanted it.
Okay. I thought that was the church stacks,
No,
and then that was the little, um,
Tower back there.
used to be the library. And I
yeah.
was curious what the tall one was.
Yeah,
I
no,
thought
I
you had
mean,
like custom.
but if we wanted to make it something like that, if someone is a good artist, we could send them in our own graphic of what we wanted to look like.
I just thought it was kind of neat because
Yeah,
it does fit,
yeah,
except for the tall building. It
yeah, the
fits
one
with
tall
what's
building.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, we need the food bank, the honey building. The
Well,
big,
see, it's like that little bit looks like it could be a piece of the food bank. That's why I was just like,
yeah.
well, so are we putting those on there? And I thought maybe we were gonna.
We'll just get a tall building added to town.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you
Okay.
go.
And make it look old.
Make it look old.
That's right.
Has
All right.
anyone spoken to Laura Appleby about maybe submitting a design?
Not for this. I did ask her about, um, if she had thoughts on like a town logo picture kind of a thing, and she said she would, kind of like brainstorm on some things. But
That'd
certainly,
be getting that before we order these would be a good idea. Because I just told them to use what's on the town website right now, and that's where that town of Clayton thing comes in,
hmm
and
which
that
I
would
like that.
right.
So if that were the default, I mean, I'd be
Yeah.
okay with it. I kind of thought it'd be fun if our local
Mm-hmm.
arts studio here.
That would be.
Well,
Great.
that plays hand in hand with the fact that they're going to be revamping our website on the new platform, and so if we were going to, I mean, we can have that changed at any time,
Mm.
but right now it's going to progress with that logo that's already on there, but we can have it swapped out at any time. So I guess whenever, I just want to make sure that we had a fresh logo that we like before we order the things. So maybe if you talk to her, is she in? What days are she in? I can stop in and talk to her if you're busy or whatever.
Yeah, I don't. She's kind of been having different hours now, but I know
It's
Edith goes
usually
in there and does
Tuesday.
projects. So
Yeah, it's usually Tuesday through Friday, and I think a little bit Saturday. But she usually starts at 10, like opens up at 10.
Okay. I'll drop in or see if I can just email her about it.
yeah,
Talk to her.
But I know she's
absolutely.
not open on
That'd be
Sunday and Monday for sure.
Okay.
super helpful because yeah, she's probably got some fun ideas on
Oh, definitely.
some kind of artistic
I feel like we're kind of
look.
on our way a little bit of getting this going. So
I like it.
Absolutely. All right. Any other questions on or comments on the town signs? Now, obviously, the one that says town park is not going to be on all of them. That'll just be on, and that'll be on that
that'll be on the drop
the
down
drop
or the
down,
drop down one.
and then the sponsorship on the second drop down. Okay,
Yep.
excellent. I like it. I think those
Mhm.
look really. I mean, I like the way that those little kind of fun cartoony looking buildings and the sun behind it and
Mhm.
kind of pop. But
My wife liked the blue one better than the white one.
I do too.
See,
You do
I'm
too.
drawn to the blue myself.
But
right,
I think you have a point. The
Exactly.
white will probably stand out more
right. If
for
you're
people
driving
just driving through.
Mhm.
on the road,
Could
And I
they
think
do
that's
blue
probably
on the
gonna.
top maybe and white on the bottom?
What do you like, fade from blue down to white?
Uh-huh,
Kind of
like,
like that one.
Okay,
so once you get to the directions,
yeah, be
make
more,
it stand out a little more with the white, but have the
like
blue
a
background.
gradient, I'll tell them, maybe, maybe, no, something like that. Okay.
I'm just like your wife, I
And
think the blue's
have
prettier.
we kind of come up with a border of what we are considering our historic downtown? Have we said like here sits from Regan to Crawford,
Yeah,
or have we?
I kind of thought we had talked in the past year about it starting at, which is now this new massage place, that corner,
Okay, so Ohio.
Ohio, down to the stop sign and of Iowa all the way to Leanne's
Okay.
business. So that would be classified as like the L, historic downtown L.
Okay.
And then of course down to D and in that way. That should be also included.
What is Leanne's?
It's
Crawford.
The
The
body shop.
Davis Floral.
Davis Floral.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Everybody else feel like that fits with
And
what
then
we're shooting for?
Yeah.
and then would we our focus is getting, you know, the main drag here with signs, but then would we want to put signs on Michigan on that side of highway? Or
So
anywhere
if
else?
somebody's driving on Michigan, they see these
Yeah,
same
between Iowa down to, what's the next street over there?
Pennsylvania,
Pennsylvania. So would we put banners
or all
on
the way
one of those?
to Lambert, or I mean
Yeah, because the walkthrough's gonna go right by there, right?
Vandalia
Well,
Trail will
right, but
eventually at
I
some
don't think
point.
we'd call that historic downtown. That would be just welcome to town of Clayton, and then other banners, similar design, but other banners without the historic downtown logo on them. That's my thinking.
Right, because there are things that, like the library, I lived for almost a year and wasn't even aware we had a library.
Yeah.
You mean the new one or the old one? Whichever one's there now.
Both.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
she
old or
didn't live
new.
here when the old one.
I was like, I just know where it is now.
Yeah.
The old one used to be where the food pantry is, with the
Okay,
honey
yeah, no, the new one.
comb painted on the side. That one,
But I
that
don't
used to be
take
the
Road
library.
Zero very often, so,
Is it that
I
one?
mean,
No, it's that
Signs?
one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't real big.
And she didn't have any shelves, I was told anyway. She didn't have any shelves. The
Oh,
books were
wow.
all just stacked on the floor, and she could, the librarian, you walk in and say, I'm looking for a book. She'd tell me what book you want, and she would
Wow.
go find it
oh my
in the
God.
shelf. I mean, she was just like,
Really?
that's what I was told. I obviously I wasn't here when that was around, but
Wow.
that's just fascinating to me.
Oh,
All right, very good. Thank you, Dave, and team that are working on our wayfinding signs. Looks like we're making good progress. Hopefully, we'll have some good steps forward here in the next couple of months. All right, and the other one that we have been working on is our zoning in order to kind of clean up, the zoning adjustments or the incentives to developers and those kinds of things. So we started just looking at our UDO and going, there's a lot of little errors that we wanted to clean up and fix. So I sent everybody an Excel spreadsheet that our planner with Banyan um, worked on. She had over 600 notes on our UDO. So now most of them are like this language and this language should be similar, but they're different. So those are easy fixes to just go in and make it. This says agricultural and this says agriculture. So she's like, why don't you just make it the same? So I started work on some of those. I'm almost up to comment number 100, the first 100. But I didn't know if anybody else wanted to take a section, like I'll do 300 to 400 and change things as I could. I created it, I moved that into a Google Docs, so I can actually share that Google Docs with everybody, and everybody can edit it on that same page, so that we're not having 8 different versions of that out there. We just have the one on Google Docs, and everybody who gets in there who wants to work on a section could do that, make those edits. If it's a technical issue and you're not sure what changes need to be made with that, like on some of them, she's got statements in there about is this really being enforced? So like the first one that comes to mind was swimming pools. Swimming pools that are installed have to have a 4-foot chain link fence all the way around the pool with a self-latching gate, according to our UDO. Actually, our UDO says 5 foot, and the state law says 4 foot. So obviously, we need to make it. We don't need to make it more restrictive than the state law, so we can change that to meet that. So those are just things to. If it's technical like that, you don't know how to adjust that. We can bring that back here.
Sorry, I was just looking at what you sent me and I don't know why it's talking.
So we can, look at those technical things as a group here and say, okay, well, here's what the group thinks we ought to adjust that to. Now, any changes we make to the UDO, we have to actually formally present it here, vote on it, and then we have to take it to the town council and say, this is what the planning commission has voted on to recommend update, and then they have to accept that and vote on it as well. So it does take more formal steps than, just kind of changing it on a PDF kind of thing. So, and I don't anticipate, like us finishing this within a month. 600 comments. It's going to take us a while to get through all those, but.
Yeah, if you do that, I'll do a section on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which section do you want to do? Like 200 to 300?
I'll do 2 to 300.
200 to 300. All right.
I'll do one.
You will do a section. Okay. So 301 to 400.
Okay.
All right.
I can do one.
All right. So 401 to 500. So I'll, like I said, I'll send invites with your email that we have registered for you as part of this group, and you'll just get an invite to this Google Doc, and you'll get on there, and then you'll be able to make those adjustments on that.
So just highlight maybe anything that is technical that we're not going to address by ourselves.
Yeah. What I started doing on the Excel spreadsheet, which is not called an Excel spreadsheet in Google Docs, but that sheet. I don't know what they call it. Spreadsheet. So they call it a spreadsheet on Google Docs. So this is on the very far right column is I typed in fixed if I were able to fix it.
Okay.
If I wasn't able to fix it, then I just left that blank.
Okay.
So that would be a way for us to reference with that. So that'll also be a Google Doc. So there'll be a spreadsheet and then the UDO. And so we'll just go through that.
And the UDO is what, for Shannon's benefit?
Unified Development Ordinance. So years ago, we used to have a subdivision control and then a development ordinance. So those were 2 different documents. GRW worked to combine those into a UDO back in 2021. And then we have this, which is, when I look through some of these where it's duplicated or language is different, that's because she just merged the 2 documents. She didn't edit it at all. She just simply stuck it all together, like having 2 decks of cards, and she just, and there it is. So this process now is us just cleaning all those things up. There are, going to be things that we find in there, like the fence around the swimming pool, that we have to, discuss on what are we, are we enforcing this? Are we, there's one was also mentioned about the daycare center. I don't remember which one, what that comment was, but it was basically just an enforcement issue on are we doing this kind of thing. So, you know, when just after we got that done, Copper Top came and they wanted to put up a sign on that corner over by the post office. Well, our UDO said you could only have a sign that's 3 foot by 5 foot, which just that's a pretty small sign. So we adjusted that, you know, we edited that page to allow for a bigger sign.
And a lot of these ordinances that are in there came to the town of Clayton because they were used, they were with a company or whatever, however we did it at that time. Those were like some ordinances that were, I don't wanna say stolen, but they basically, we looked at other, we didn't, but at that time, the administration looked at other municipalities, what they were using, and used that as a template. So some of the ordinances have never been looked at until now,
Right.
and don't have any meaning or sense to them as far as, you know, little rural.
Don't even apply to
Yeah.
our town,
It,
basically.
it doesn't apply as well to our town as it would
Yeah.
to a larger metropolitan area kind of a thing.
Yeah, and another example, like we have a homeowner over on Pennsylvania Street has a fairly large lot, wants to build a in-law quarters, some mother-in-law quarters on that lot, with a home office or something, right? Wasn't there something
Well,
about a home
actually
office?
living would
But
be upstairs.
yeah, so the UDO says that no more than 20%, what was it, 20% of their square footage could be dedicated to this home office. And I'm like, I mean, why are we worried about that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we're gonna go in and inspect and measure. Oh, you have part of your desk outside that 20%. I mean, so those are things that we're gonna run into that we gotta go. Is this appropriate for the town of Clayton? Is this just restrictive for no reason? Can we get rid of it without causing any harm? That kind of stuff.
So just a question, when you run into that where they wanna build like an in-law quarters and this and that, does it has to be connected to the home that's there?
No,
Oh,
it
really?
doesn't.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. But yeah, it does not
I could build on my corner and
have
rent
to
it
be
out.
attached.
Okay.
Yeah, you have. I mean, so those are some things that we're gonna address with zoning, and as we make these changes over the next weeks and months, trying to clean this up, then we'll get together as a group here and go, okay, well this is gonna help with making this easier to understand.
Should we set a goal for June's meeting? Let's tackle at least 10 of them, or I mean, come up with some goals to be productive.
Yeah, we can do
or do
that.
we want to?
So 10 of the technical questions in there that we need to
yeah,
address.
the ones that have like flags next to them that aren't
Yeah.
just grammar or, as you said, kind of distinguish, just saying the same thing. We're just not using the same
Wording.
noun to describe it or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So she pointed out Mary Strotter is the one who put these notes together. So she pointed out the agriculture versus agricultural thing. So on your PDF you can just find and replace. So I hit find and replace. Like 245 examples of we had differing words throughout the document. So it was, but with find and replace, it was kind of easy just to click through.
So when we do that, we come up with consensus, we, like a technical one that's technical, we change it, then would we have to vote on that then the next meeting, and then the next month after that present it to the town council, or could we vote on it at the, in other words, is there gonna have to be some kind of public announcement about it before we make a decision on it?
With modification from what I read in the state statute, that does not require a public hearing.
Okay.
So we would have our public meeting, say these are the edits, the updates that we're doing, then we vote yes or no, and then it would be in our meeting minutes, and then we would go to the town council. Now, I mean, my thought process is let's complete all of the edits before we vote.
Yeah, good idea.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's just my thought, but unless somebody
make
thinks
it
we need to do.
comprehensive, and then that way it's
Right.
simple.
Gotcha.
I mean, if we want to do it more like chapter by chapter, we can. I just thought get the whole document edited, completed, vote on these are all the changes we've made, and then take it to the town
And wouldn't
council.
it, but wouldn't, well, I mean, I get not taking it to the town council till it's done, but if you're doing all of them at once, wouldn't that be, I mean, are we talking like a 3 hour meeting? Do we have to go through all of these to go, okay, this one's good, this one's not, this one's good, this one's not?
Well, I was just talking about the edit or the voting on it. So I think we can do edits, 10 or so each month, 20, whatever we want to do,
Okay,
and then
We'll have a
as
running record of those edits.
right on
okay,
that
okay.
on that Google Docs, we'll have that.
I'm just thinking, I don't wanna be here till 10 one night figuring out what.
Why not?
I agree. I
Okay.
agree. I agree. We don't want to be here till 10
Yeah.
at night doing edits on this, but
So,
it'll just be a matter of, um, you know, coming up with,
right,
10 or 15 or so of these edits that will, the technical ones that we tackle each month, and then the other ones that are not technical, they're just grammatical, then we can
do
each,
as we
you
go,
do that
yes,
in your own section and just, you've put on there that you fixed it. And,
okay.
So if you still need 501 to 600, I can do that.
Okay, 501 to 600. All right. So we've got 200 to 300, or 201 to 300. Let's keep it
201.
consistent. So 201 to 300, and then
301.
301 to 400, 401 to 500, 501 to 600, and that so gets us pretty close to everything. And like I said, I'm almost done with the first 100, so I'll go on up to 199
No,
or 200.
200.
I'll go up to 200.
Okay,
We don't care. I'm okay with you. Do 200.
We'll just leave 200 out.
All right.
I don't know. All right, and then we'll have that all that zoning. Now she did also send me. That was on a Friday 2 weeks ago when she sent me that, and I sent that to everybody. And then on Monday, that following Monday, she sent me our copy of the comprehensive plan with notes on it also.
Wow.
So there weren't as many notes on there, but it was just kind of like some of those were just questions. So at some point, we'll, after we're done with this UDO kind of thing, we'll go back to the comprehensive plan notes and address some of those questions. Some of them were, again, more information about wording on the very executive summary. She said some of the wording in there kind of didn't, it, it wasn't 100% clear what they were trying to talk about. So I think those are going to be easy to address and fix. One of the things that she mentioned in this comprehensive plan, it talks about how we are going to integrate the county's comprehensive plan into our information so that we're not conflicting with the county. So if we do something in our comprehensive plan that we won't be like butting heads with something the county's doing right outside of our town limits. So I asked Pete if he could try to track down a copy of the county's comprehensive plan, so he's going to see if he can talk to them tomorrow about getting a copy of that for us to have here and look at. Now we are not obligated to follow the county's comprehensive plan, but what I just don't want us like doing the opposite of what they're working on kind of thing. So it's just a matter of
Do we know how often they vamp their
they
plan?
just did. So the same year that we were doing ours, HWC was doing their updated
Okay.
version. So we basically we adopted a comprehensive plan the same month that they did, brand new one, so, or an updated version of it, so. All right, any questions on that zoning or comprehensive plan information? If you were going to join our BZA, we'll get you a copy of this comprehensive plan so you can take it home with you
Okay.
and look at it, read it. But you don't have to make that decision tonight, but we hope you do.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. All right. And what we've asked for you to join or be appointed to the Board of Zoning Appeals, which there's two groups here basically, Planning Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals. Board of Zoning Appeals has less month-to-month kind of assignments for the most part, although we like having input from everybody, so Tom's here at every meeting, and Diana's here at every meeting, and they give us input on things as well. But Board of Zoning Appeals, really, your sole responsibility is when somebody comes in and says, hey, my property is zoned for this, and I want to do this, and it doesn't fit, can I get a variance? Can I will you change the rules for me, for my property? And then you guys look at all the data information, and Pete gives you some feedback on what again, the UDO says, what development standards are, and then you make a decision on yay or nay.
Like for instance, that's what happened with the salon, right?
Yes.
Correct.
That was, remember the big old White House, like right
Next
here?
door.
Oh yeah, it is next door.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know it's right here.
So our UDO did not have anything specific about allowing a hair care business being in this property, in this house. And so she asked for a variance to allow her business to operate out of her house. So the group gave her a variance for that. All right. The other thing I sent out a couple weeks ago was just continued to working on this vision statement. I know, I keep thinking back about our meeting in February when we were talking about annexation, and what some property owners gave us feedback on. If you made some tweaks, if you made some adjustments, if you gave us a clear understanding of why you want to annex, then we might be in favor of it. So I worked on that some. I don't know if anybody had a chance to kind of look at this and offer some feedback on what kinds of things I've written down. Obviously on this long paper, this is not all the vision statement. Vision statements should be kind of short and sweet. So it's just that very top paragraph above where the indented bullet points are, that the vision statement is that first paragraph about Clayton is a family-friendly town with rural charm and southern hospitality, is a quiet, safe place with loads of small-town pride. Clayton's vision is to maintain a sustainable community that values its agricultural roots and social well-being. The town aims to foster community involvement, civic service, and stewardship. So that's the vision statement. Then I got some goals listed on there, and then some of the other things on here just are some of the things that we want to strive for as these two groups, our planning and zoning and our BZA, about problem solving and setting objectives and data collection. So anybody have any questions, thoughts, comments on that so far?
I like the way this reads and what it states.
I like it.
Okay. Some of our data collection stuff is, we really haven't done a lot so far since I've been on this group. One of them is, again, kind of connected with planning that's going on around us. Okay, so obviously been in the news a lot and on social media a lot. Plainfield's annexing big property here on 39. So Plainfield is, they're planning and zoning folks are involved in coming closer to Clayton. So we just need to keep an eye on that kind of stuff. The county's planning and zoning, like what kinds of things are going on with the county. They have a meeting every month, just like we do. The county's planning and zoning meets a week after we do, so next Tuesday. So I'm gonna try and remember to go to their planning meeting and kind of start going to those so that we can get feedback on what kinds of things the county's doing. My guess is most of their planning and stuff is other places in the county right now. I haven't heard much about what's going on here, but I want to go to the meeting just to verify, is there anything from the county going on right here? I know they have something that they initiated recently with the bridges in the county. So all the bridges, they're investigating, like, do they need to be redone, kind of thing. So now we do have a couple of bridges here close to Clayton, over Mud Creek, over that kind of stuff.
And these would be bridges that are not state bridges, state highway
Correct.
bridges.
These will be county
road
bridges, county roads. The county roads, in fact, I saw that they were doing a survey last week. I posted it on the town's Facebook page. The county highway department wanted to know, give feedback on how are county roads in your area. So hopefully some people picked that up and did that survey to give some feedback to them because they work in this area. So
Do you know what time the county meeting is on Tuesday?
6:30 is when their meeting is.
They don't have a service like we do. They do
The county does, but theirs is not video, it's just audio. So you can call in on the phone and then you can listen to the meeting. You can't make comments, it's
Right.
just a listen thing, but yeah, they have a phone number. I have to go get a paper that will allow us to listen, but I can bring that here, but, cause I've done that with the county commission meetings. When the county commissioners meet, I listen to those, but those are at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday also. So most of the time people are not, most of the time people are at work when they meet, so. But
So where is this meeting, the government building?
yes, yeah, usually like the county commission, they meet in the commissioners meeting room, and then everybody else meets in those other two big conference rooms across the hall from those. County council, county planning commission, the drainage board, all these different groups meet in those, but which. All right. Any other questions, thoughts, comments for the good of the order? You got any feedback for us as a team? So earlier, we talked about getting Laura Appleby involved in some stuff for art. There are lots of people that we can get involved in stuff that we're doing with the planning commission. They don't have to be members. They can just be involved in short-term projects like our signs or our zoning or those kinds of things. So we are allowed to kind of talk our neighbors and friends and stuff into, hey, you have a passion for this. How about coming to the planning commission meeting and talking about that, or helping us with brainstorming some ideas on these projects that we're doing, whether it's development or we all know people who are involved in construction or other businesses that might pertain to what we're doing here. In fact, today I met with Shelly Wilson, who's a realtor, and I asked her a couple weeks ago. I said, I've been reading some books about sense of place, and with regards to the planning commission, part of our job is to basically market the town of Clayton to not only Claytonites or Claytonians. What do we call them?
I think Claytonians works.
Claytonians. So our people in Clayton, the Claytonians, but other people who drive through.
Right.
So we're just marketing that. So I just asked her. I said, when you sell a house in Clayton, like what do you tell your prospective buyer about Clayton with that? And so number one thing said schools. Said the schools. We have that sign over here about it being a
I've
4-star
seen
school. We have it on our little welcome sign and 4 different points of our entering our town. So yeah, they advertise that a lot. Clayton has great schools. So Mill Creek is one of those schools that people seek out and say, I want to send my kids there. So the other thing that she says that she really pushes or talks about is how you can be rural, but you're close enough to things that you might need to get to. So you can go shopping in Plainfield or Avon or Danville without a very long of a drive at all. I mean, so you can get to the airport, in 15 minutes. So she says that that's a big draw. So I did find it. She put a lot of data in here, so more data collection stuff than we probably necessarily want to look at tonight. But she said we currently have about 3 months of inventory in town for houses. And I said, well, what does that mean? Because I didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that mean? She said if no new houses get put on the market, all the houses that are currently on the market will be sold within 3 months, and we won't have any more to sell. So that's what 3 months. So she said that makes it what they call a seller's market. So sellers markets are good for towns. So that creates that kind of covetedness. I really there's not a lot of inventory, so I better get mine,
Right.
kind of thing. She also said our median house sale price is $321,000, which that shocked me. I didn't realize it was that high. $321,000.
That's up from what the U.S. Census was a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's
Way up.
that's pretty impressive. That that's kind of where our home prices are in town. And not that I don't want to encourage people in town to put their house on the market and sell. I want people to stay. But I want people to also know, as a planning commission, we're going to be focused on retaining your worth, your value of your
Right.
property. I mean, we don't want to see your property values drop. And so everything that we do within the planning commission should be to continue to protect that value of everybody's property. And I think with the wayfinding signs, we're going to make this town a much cuter, like, welcoming town. I think with cleaning up our ordinances, we're going to make this a more inviting place for realtors to go. She said that she loved that we have our zoning map on our website because she can easily click on there and give her clients information about properties. She said very few municipalities do that. She said maybe I shouldn't say this on the recording, but she said they beat their head against the wall with calling some of these communities in Hendricks County to try and find out what's this property zone, and places just are not that open about sharing that. So anyway. So that's just something that I kind of started looking at with some of my ideas of data collection and stuff. But yeah, if anybody comes up with other ideas or things that they want to investigate, feel free and come back and share that with the group. And I'm excited about where we're heading in the future, getting our comprehensive plan implemented, getting our UDO cleaned up, getting our wayfinding signs, up on the poles and that kind of stuff. And so
I'm looking forward to that. The poles and signs are going to be really neat.
I think that'll be great. That'll be fun. Did we work out like a percentage or with the sponsorship and all yet, or okay? So we haven't
No,
got to that point yet.
maybe,
Okay,
maybe as soon as they throw me a price
gotcha.
on that, then we can do that.
Okay, very good. Anybody have anything else before we adjourn? All right. We'll call our meeting adjourned, and I thank you for your time and efforts.